Hello guys and welcome back to this one, and today we are going to be looking at not so much of an optimization in sense of brute force, but like a subtle optimization. Basically, yesterday we took an approach where we looked at the node to see if it was a none, right? And would return -1 and true. We spoke about how that were propagated up the tape tree, and informed how we did our calculation. We got our height, right? And we checked the left node if it was false, and then we get to return the height and the false together. Now, and then let's see, we looked at balance to see if the tree was balanced, depending on what we returned, right? If we returned -1 and 1, so far it was the height between the height between the left and the right nodes, right? Or the subtrees was, so far it was less than 1. Obviously, we said that the tree was balanced, right? And yeah, that's that persisted, and that was true. But when we look at this solution, we see that what we actually need is an understanding of the or a knowing if this tree, say, is balanced or not. That's basically our main problem, to see if this tree is a balanced one or not. So basically, but meaning that all subtrees are balanced, right? So this could be balanced, this should be balanced, this should be balanced. So that's what we want to know. And we also want to propagate this information. Oh, this guy is balanced. Okay, no problem. I'll propagate that information up to B, so that when B is handling itself, it also understands that the guys beneath it are balanced or not balanced, right? So basically, the optimization here is simple. All it tries to do is to say, yes, you check if the node is balanced. If it's not none, return the same stuff. But now this is where the caveat is now it says left get height and right balance, right? It says check balance. Now it's basically destructuring the tuple that we ideally return. That's the one and the true, right? And then it says check balance, correct or left. Now, if for instance the left is not balanced, immediately it returns false, right? Then the same thing with the right. If that's also not balanced, immediately returns false. Now, one will say, oh, it's the same thing that we were doing before. We were returning false when we calculate to see if these guys are balanced, right? But yes, that's exactly what it is now, or where the advantage is because what's happening is that here we are going through the entire node, the left node, and holding the value of, oh, is this balanced? Oh, if this was false, let's say this line right here has returned us, oh, this guy is false, right? We do nothing about it. We go to the right node. But this guy's already giving us the information that you see this whole tree is not balanced because one guy on the left hand side is not balanced. So you don't even need to go looking at the right hand node anymore to find, oh, is something balanced there or not. You could immediately just return the fact that yes, we found one place where we have a disruption. We don't need to iterate any longer. But we go ahead to do that in this guy, which we wouldn't do here. We would immediately return false, and that false will also continue to propagate immediately up to the root node, telling us this guy is false and not a balanced node, which we don't do here. We wait up until we calculate, we do the left and the right comparisons, we do the balance before we then return the balance or not balance. But we first check the left node and the right node, right, to see if that is returned. So basically, just to maybe give an instance, right? So basically, what we're saying is that you imagine you have this node right here, and you check it. It is true, right? It is true that it is balanced because the right tree height and the left tree subtree's height is 2 and 1. But let's say, just as we said earlier, that we have a value here, right, that extends here and also extends here, right? But let me see if I could get that stuff here again. I don't want to pick too much. So let's say we place something here and we also place something here, right? Now immediately we see that this guy is broken, right? So what do we now have? 1, 2, 3, right? So we have 0, 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 here. We have 0, 1. Okay, this is still broken. Let me see. Was it broken before? This was 0, 1. This was okay. I think I'm counting it. Let me count it from the top as 0. So I've been counting it wrong. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3. So this is 0, 1, 2, right? So we see that if we have 3 here, right, I have 2 here. This 3 is still what? Balanced, right? But when we now come down here, right, and we say, oh, okay, let's take this guy away. Let's take this guy away. let's say we delete this guy, right? So this tree is still balanced, right? But when we come down to this guy over here, we do 0, 1, 2. So we have 2 here now, and we now have what? 0 over here, because we have a none. Let's have an imaginary none here, right? So what that immediately does is that this guy here, as he's going to return a false to this guy when he returns. So when he returns to this guy a false over here, we no longer need to go down the right hand node to check, oh, is this guy 2 or 3 or nothing. We don't need to do that. We really stop here and return. And basically that's the optimization that this guy brings, or this way of thinking brings. He immediately returns the value because we found one node that does not have the subtrees, right? So that's it for the optimization. That's basically what I wanted us to see, to always think of maybe more optimized ways to better the system, understanding that we are going to be working for a system that these fine margins, right? Maybe optimization might not catch it, like O of n and stuff might not catch it, but it's also on us to see, oh, in a system that's very large, right? These fine margins could be what would save a lot of time and a lot of space. So yeah, that was it for this one. Muchas gracias. See you on the next one. Peace.